Hello everyone, welcome to the second video for 7.3 screencast in your notes. So it'll say video 2 at the top of the handout. We're doing examples B and C. So in the investigation today, we talked about this completing the square. And the reason we use completing the square is because we can't factor. So here we want to convert the quadratic equation or the quadratic function to vertex form and then identify the vertex. So for A, to convert to vertex form, remember vertex form, make a little note, where should I put it? Well, I'll just put it here. Vertex form is when you have y equals a times x minus h squared plus k. Okay, so I have y equals x squared minus 18x plus 100. And since I can't factor this because I have no numbers that multiply to be 100 and add to be negative 18. So I could try 25 times 4. But when I add those, I get 29. I could try 20 times 5. When I add those, I get 25. 15 doesn't work. 10 times 10, that adds to be 20. I have 50 and 2, but that adds to be 52. So really nothing that's going to work. So we go to this completing the square. And in order to do that, I first isolate or just look at my first two terms with the x's. So y equals x squared minus 18x. And I leave this plus 100 on the end. I don't really pay attention to the plus 100 right now. And I draw my square, and I put the x squared here. And now I need two terms that are going to equal negative 18x. And they should be, when I add them, and they should be the same exact term. So it's pretty much negative 18 divided by 2 is how we get the number that goes in here. So it's our b term divided by 2. Okay, and that would be the same thing that goes here. So negative 18 divided by 2 is negative 9. And this is negative 9. And then these guys get our x's like they normally do in the box. So I can actually complete the outside of the box. X and x. This would need to be negative 9 and this would need to be negative 9. And now here it is, complete the square. So I have three pieces of my square. I need the last piece. Negative 9 times negative 9 is 81. So this is the piece I am now adding into my equation. So I'll have y equals x squared minus 18x, and I'm putting in plus 81. I can't just add in an 81 without changing my entire equation. So I also have to subtract 81 from the outside, because now adding and subtracting the same number is pretty much like adding 0, but I do it in this format so that I can get vertex form. So I subtract the 81 outside, and then I remember that my plus 100 is also there, so I have to add that on to the end. Simplifying this gives me y equals x minus 9 times x minus 9, because now this is able, now this here is able to be factored, and it factors right into what I have over here, x minus 9 and x minus 9. I can combine my like terms here. Negative 81 plus 100 is a positive 19. And because x minus 9 times x minus 9, because they're exactly the same parenthesis, I can rewrite that as x minus 9 squared plus 19. And now I have my answer, or my equation rather, in vertex form. The a out front would just be a 1. There's my x minus h squared plus k. So the vertex then, I have to erase to fit this in here. Let me erase this. So once I have my answer, my vertex is straight from your h and your k. Remember, vertex is h, k. So my vertex is 9 and 19. because vertex, the H always comes out as the opposite. Okay, remember that from Unit 3. All right, moving on. I'm going to do example B. I'm going to erase what I have here. But I'm going to change example B from all those letters to another example with numbers. So I think when you look back at an example with numbers, it's a little bit easier to understand. And I'll get back to the example B with the variables at the end. But I feel like if I go into that right now, I might just kind of lose you, throw you for a loop. So I'm going to skip example B right now. And I'm going to change it, example B, to y equals x squared plus 20x plus 94. Okay. So again, try to make, you can do it on your own. I'm not going to waste the time doing it here. But if you try to get factors of 94, so multiply to be 94 and add to be 20, I'm going to run into some issues. It's not going to be possible. So we complete the square. Same steps as before. We isolate the x squared and the 20x, leaving the 94 on the end and not really thinking about it. We draw our square using just the x squared. And then remember, this is going to be half, or b divided by 2, or half of b. So b right now is 20, so half of that is 10x. So now on the outside I have x, and 10 and 10. So to complete my square in here, it would be 10 times 10, which is 100. So back over to my equation. X squared plus 20x plus 100. So on the outside I'm subtracting 100 and bringing down my plus 94. From there I factor, which I already have in my on the outside of my square. So my factored form is x plus 10 times x plus 10. And negative 100 plus 94 is negative 6. Because my two parentheses are identical, I can rewrite that as x plus 10 squared minus 6. And there again is my vertex form. A again is 1, x minus minus h squared plus k. So in this case, my vertex, again, h and k, so h is here, it's going to be a negative 10 because I take the opposite, and k I take exactly what I see, so it's negative 6. All right? Okay, so now letter C. So letter C throws an extra number into the mix. It has an a term. So instead of like a and b, I have a number in front of my x squared term. So I have to factor that out first. So this is what this one would look like. Let me go back and erase. Okay, so for C, y equals 6x squared minus 24x plus 147. So I'm still going to isolate my x squared, 6x squared minus 24x, and then the 147 on the end. But because I have a number in front of my x squared, it's not a 1, because it's a different number, I am going to factor out that a term. So I'm going to divide out a 6, put it out front of my parentheses. 6 divided by 6 is 1, so I get my x squared. Negative 24 divided by 6 is negative 4, and I get negative 4x. I still have the plus 147 on the end. So remember, when we factor out, my greatest common factor of 6 and 24 is 6. I don't want to take an x because I still need the x squared term to complete a square. So I'm just taking out the factor, not the variable. So I divide by 6. That's how I just get x squared, because these guys cancel. and I divide by 6 here, and that's how I get the negative 4. Okay? So, from there, I draw my box. I have x squared, and these guys need to make 4x. So I take half of my negative 4, that's negative 2. So this is negative 2x and negative 2x. So the outside is x, negative 2, negative 2. So to complete the square, inside the box here would have to be a positive 4.